Not sure how I pulled off that really cool landing move just now, but welcome back everybody. Today, we're headed to the northeast and are currently just north of the village that we spawned at in the beginning of this series. I'm in an adventurous mood today, so we'll be flying very far away from home to load some, what I think will be, spectacular terrain while we're still on version 1.16. So hope you stick around for this exploration themed episode, and welcome to all the newcomers. I've been really blown away by all the support in the last couple of videos, and I'm truly appreciative of everyone. Alright, so we've made it to the mesa, and this is where I've been collecting all of the red sand we've been using. This is more or less a temporary outpost, since we will plan on resetting these chunks in the future, and for now it just serves as a little bit of a hub for whenever I come over here to gather these resources and bring them back. So this is not where we need to go specifically, merely a stop on the way. So my plan is to continue to go in the northeast direction, and we're going to follow this new ocean, which is just on the other side of this Badlands biome. And from there, we'll traverse up that until we reach our first destination. And for now, I'll keep it a surprise, but it's going to be cool, trust me. Alright, so I guess let's get to traveling a little bit more. I think we're here. That's right, we have found an old-growth taiga super island. Super cool. The scenery is just unmatched. Beautiful rivers, all of these large trees, a couple of valleyed little indents in the ground over there, and just overall, a really serene and peaceful biome. Okay, so the first course of action is I will map this entire place, because it's a pretty big area. I don't know if you can tell just by looking around. And if I had to guess, this entire area would probably span an entire zoomed out map's worth of land. So we definitely have a lot of work cut out for us in terms of the mapping. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to try and scout out some, I guess, tall vantage points. And we're specifically looking for a high vantage point in order to build a small little base that I've thought of. So I'll go ahead and do that and map this entire area and then check back. I really do love this sky pack, but I disabled the shaders because my computer, I think it was affecting the audio quality, so we'll leave those off for the time being. Incidentally enough, we ended up kind of right exactly where we left off last time. So this is the center of the island, and if you can see in the map to the left there, this converges at the point of two rivers, so it's a really central location, and I think it has the best views, even though it's not the apex vantage point. There were a number of hills on the sides of the islands that might have served as a little bit higher of a view, but I think overall, this spot here really encompasses the beauty of this place. You got the rivers and all the trees and the night sky. Alright, so first, what I'll do is I'll sleep. And then I'm going to try and make this tree a little bit taller. And I'm gonna do a little goofy thing, which is I'm going to cut basically the top part of this tree off and then grow another one. So we have this really elongated tree, and we'll use that as our point of building the base. And the reason I want to do this is simply because I think this height is a really good view compared to down here per se, where it doesn't feel as grand, and I just feel like we're going to get more value out of building a base roughly where the foliage of this tree is. So that's what I'll get to work on. We'll get right into building in this episode. Also, I didn't know that you could use a bed to jump 2 blocks with the Elytra if you just kind of spam shift here. You can get on top. Pretty cool. Anyways, I'll get to work and we'll make a small little base, so then we're good to go in this area. Oh yeah, and one last thing. So I mapped the entire island, and it only takes about a quarter of the map So definitely smaller than I thought it would be, but still pretty sizable compared to most islands you would find. So really, really cool terrain, even in 1.16. So yeah, here is the full map, so hopefully this makes a little bit more sense. As you can tell by the coordinates, we are so far to the east. It's like not even funny. Yeah, we're pretty much like 15,000 blocks in the eastward direction, and then 4,000 blocks north of the center point. So really pretty far out there. In terms of this build, it's a little bit of an odd build, but I think it really captures kind of the vibe we have here, because we are definitely very far from home in this desolate place, and I wanted the build to kind of capture this feeling of being out of place, if that makes any sense. In terms of the materials, it's not too demanding, so everything you need to build the primary structure is here, and honestly you don't even need some of these decorative things. But yeah, in addition to just the building supplies, I brought general survival supplies since we are really far out. In fact, the Elytra almost broke just getting out here, and it was at full durability, so I had to repair it a little bit over on the continent. You can't see it here, but basically it snakes around over here, and there's a village somewhere right there. But yeah, definitely a far ways away, and so we want to have supplies just in case we come out here again and do some mining or whatever. But yeah, that's what we've got, and I just wanted to show the materials list before we build this thing, because I think it's a nice little base, but you'll see. You'll see. Alright, I'll get to building. Are you gonna watch? Okay, never mind. The base is finished, and I think it turned out pretty spectacularly. So during the day, I think that this base definitely achieves this foreign and otherworldly, almost alien mood when you look at it, and even though it maintains its eerie vibe at night, there's something about this base that feels very comforting and inviting. I included little details to make the base feel like it's in really pristine condition, yet also very old at the same time. And so really the heavy lifters of this mood I feel like are the quartz blocks and the variants of it, as well as the end rods. But another small detail that I used were these dried up horn coral blocks, because to me they kind of look like petrified lichen, and so they give the impression that this base has been here for a really, really long time, almost ancient. And so having a couple of these around helps complete the undisturbed and ancient vibe of this place, despite it being in such good condition. And so the origins of this base are really not known. Let's just say we came across it, and we're using it, even though it could be alien for all we know. But do let me know what you think in the comments below. I know this is quite a deviation from the usual things that we build in this world, and I'm genuinely curious as to what kind of mood that this base gives off to others. Oh, I did make a small mistake on the materials list, so I forgot to include these 4 slabs right above us. They were cut off from the schematics, so they didn't make it into the original inventory, but other than that, there were no other mistakes, aside from one coral block, but I don't even think I showed the other chest. So yeah, let's get a quick vantage point from afar. And let's turn on the shaders real quick, because I'm really curious. This just looks so cool. So even though this build was fairly small and not terribly complex, it was super difficult to place all of the blocks on the underside, and that was really the most challenging part of the construction. All in all, it took about an hour and 20 minutes to completely build this whole thing. And I also learned that scaffolding is not for me, and I'll be going back to dirt blocks. While the vertical movement was pretty helpful, I just had such a hard time placing blocks while inside the scaffolding. I also was worried that having all of the scaffolding around would clutter up the time-lapse, although this ended up being alright in the final time-lapse. Alright, so quick tour of the features. You can see on our entry from the south that we have these end rods here at the bottom, and this helps indicate the bearings, so north being this way and south being this way. So if you enter, you can tell essentially which axis on the map you're entering from. One thing's for sure is that an Elytra is required for this base. I did not include any ladders, simply because there's no chance we're going to be out here without an Elytra. But if you prefer and want to construct this in the earlier game, you totally can. All you have to do is remove these barrels and then the upside down stairs below it, and then you can make a ladder up the tree, thereby giving you an entrance that does not require the use of an Elytra. Also, if you prefer, you can replace any of the barrels with shulkers, but you have essentially a good amount of storage here, and also some overhead storage up here for, say, like coal or whatnot. Other than that, just tried to provide general survival items that we would need out here. I also included our Christmas gift from last year from the villagers, so one of the sets of armor will now reside here. And yeah, just bed, ender chest, crafting table, anvil, and navigation table. Cartography table, not navigation. So one downside of this build is that there is no enchanting setup, and I don't think that there's room to include one unless you break into this pillar right here to make all of the books fit. Ooh, I want to see the sunrise from the roof. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so one thing that's neat is the roof is lit up. And so one thing I really wanted to make sure of was that no mobs would spawn here. And so I kept these lights, visible from both the inside and outside. So it effectively mob-proofs the roof. Also, if you want to access your storage, you could even do so up here. So that's another little benefit if you're just here for a quick stop and then want to fly back. So beyond this build, I did not end up actually growing another tree on top of this, since this really was the perfect height for a nice view, and also nestling the structure in the canopy. I decided to just elongate the tree and then reconstruct the top since it was simple enough to redo using light matica. I'm not sure if I want to keep this tree here. I had to remove the very top leaves, but it kind of helps blend in the structure relative to the environment, but let me know what you all think. Okay, I'm disabling the shaders because it's a lot easier to see the maps when there's no shaders. Now that we've fully explored the island and constructed our base here, I want to head downward in the southeast direction to the next island. And these will be quicker stops since we're not going to build any bases there. I just simply want to share the terrain of these cool islands that we're going to come across. And so with that, let's head off to our next destination. Oh, I think that's it. Alright. So this next area, we're not going to spend too long on it, but essentially it's a collection of islands that are connected together via, I guess these would be saltwater rivers. In any case, there are only savanna and desert biomes. Oh, a temple. Or a pyramid, rather. But yeah, there's, I think, maybe 4 total islands. So you can see primarily the main part is desert, with these savanna biomes skirting along the outsides of this island chain. Yeah, so you have a couple over here as well. And I think there are also some savanna plateaus within these smaller... Oh, another pyramid. Very nice. No villages, unfortunately, but that's okay. I really like how much area there is right here. This is like peak building ground. What I like about this area is that it's also right in the middle of cold ocean. So you have all these icebergs around. So I don't know if you remember the Winter Island adventure, but essentially that was the opposite, where we had warm ocean surrounding a tundra biome. So yeah, kind of cool that we have the opposite just north, I believe, of that area. Well, no, it's a little to the northeast because we are pretty far away from Winter Island. Ooh, lake. But yeah, that's all I wanted to really show off here. Thought this was a pretty impressively sized island that's right in the middle of the ocean. And like before, I'll probably get a map going just to give you a sense of the scale before we move on to hopefully what is our final island of this adventure. Okay, I'll get to mapping after I take a dip in this refreshing water. Alright, quite a bit later, I've mapped the bottom 3 portions of this map. As you can see, in terms of overall size, I would say it's roughly half to a third of the Spruce Island, but still pretty impressive nonetheless. There's quite a few islands, so this is 2 separate islands, although it's not really clear here. Another, so that's 3, 4, and then this savanna up here is actually connected. So that brings the grand total to 5, plus this little outcrop over here, which makes 6. And, oh yeah, there's a mushroom island right over there as well. Kind of looks like something dancing, huh? In any case, our last island will be similar to this desert. It's supposedly a desert lakes biome. It's probably located roughly 2 maps worth of distance away. So I've got some Elytra repairing to do while I'm over here as it becomes night. Hopefully, episode's not too boring. But yeah, for those of you still with the episode, thank you for indulging me in this adventure, and shout out to all of you. Alright, I'll pack these up and, yeah, be on my merry way.
Two hours later.
Phew, okay. That was a little bit farther than I expected. We actually had to go 2 maps worth, so north and then east, which is what you can see in my left hand. We have reached this desert, and so I believe we should be very close to the island, so I wanted to keep this freshly explored. So let's go check it out. I'm not really sure if this island is a dud or not. We will see, and I'm just finishing the exploration of the map right here. Oh, another desert temple. I have not been looting these. If that's something you all would like me to do in the future, let me know. But I've just kind of saved them and they're out there if we ever want to go hunting for structures or something. Alright, so the island should be right over here. I'm gonna laugh if it's outside of the map. Okay, this I think is it. And I don't see any lakes at all, so that's very disappointing. Oh dear, okay. Wow, okay, that's the one something that might count as a lake, but that's it. This was supposed to be like flat land, rivers, valleys. What? Oh well, you can't win them all. There is a small little village over here, which is pretty neat. Alright, so just to give you all bearings of where we are currently, you can probably tell by the green dot up there. So essentially, we went directly north and we hit this tundra biome. And then to the south of this, very far south, you can see that's the island where we came from. And then over here is that taiga island. So, we came quite a ways away for disappointment, but that's okay. This sea, it's absolutely incredible. Like, this is the biggest ocean I've probably ever come across in a Minecraft world. Oh, friends! Oh, look at you! Oh, chickens are so cool. In any case, I will check Chunk Base and see if there's anything worth going out there for. I do believe there's a shattered savanna, so we might check that out, but yeah, I won't belabor that, and I'll probably cut right to us being at that biome if we decide to go there. But yeah, sorry that this island was rather disappointing. I'll go ahead and make the map up there, but oh well. We made it. We finally found a shattered savanna. Pretty good one, quite sizable, and very close to a Badlands biome, right over there behind us. So as you can probably imagine, this is very, very, very far away from where we last were. And just to give you a perspective, there are no longer strongholds that spawn as far out as we are. So to get back home, I'm going to have to find, or at least travel, I think about 5,000 blocks or so, in order to get to the closest stronghold and therefore get us home. So I will not be doing that in this episode, as we are short on time, but I do want to show you the extent of the adventuring. Let's just say I went way too overboard with this. Yeah. So we started out over there, southeast to the desert islands, traveled a little bit towards the Mushroom Islands, thank you daylight, and then from there we went north all the way up to the supposed Desert Lakes biome, which was an island. From there, I proceeded to circumnavigate the entire ocean. So this whole thing, I wasn't kidding when it was the largest ocean I've ever seen. And in doing so, we came across several of these shattered savanna biomes. The big one being over there, but it didn't have a lot of water, so I decided to go to this other one, where we are currently located, which is right next to this double Badlands biome, which also has a lot of cool Badlands islands, including this really sizable one, which is technically an outcrop of the peninsula, but details. There were a couple more shattered, or I guess windswept savannas, but especially that one up there, that one was also really cool, as it had a lot of water, another Mushroom Island, and then various islands out here in the sea. From there, I wanted to go downwards and load another Badlands biome, and a couple more Mushroom Islands down there. And finally, I circumnavigated back, only to travel all the way back here to get this closing shot for the video. So yeah, this was probably too much land and too much adventuring, but I have all the terrain that I wanted loaded, at least in this part of the world, so we have this whole ocean here to do whatever we want with in the future. And of course, we have the two primary islands, which I'm really most excited about. Both of these large islands over here, which are not terribly far, but still about 15,000 blocks away from spawn. So for the start of the next episode, we'll probably need to find a stronghold to get back home, but maybe not, we'll see. I'm definitely out of maps at this point, as you can imagine, and there's no way we have space at home to make a map wall this big, but yeah, that'll be a problem for future me. I'll also want to do a world tour, and then finally, I do have some good news. So I am planning to build a new computer, and I will be doing so in the concert of updating this world. So hopefully, after the next episode, That'll be when I can finally update the world, but I do want to wait on the Pale Garden to fully release in the Java version before doing so. So with that, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. Take care, and see you next time.